You are now watching the CEO's Podcast with host Eric Green.
Hello and welcome to the podcast for CEOs. My name is Eric Green. I'm the owner of a company called United Ad Agency, and I run this podcast here just to give CEOs, business owners, people like that, just a little bit of information that's going to help them increase business. Today we're talking about why TV commercials are dead. So there's a lot of people out there that still look at TV like it's the pinnacle of advertising, and I'm here to tell you that TV is completely dead. You see, social media has kind of came through and they've really put TV, on the back burner is what's ended up happening. Actually, what's ended up happening is the internet is kind of overtaking TV the same way TV overtook radio back in the 1950s and 1940s. So we're kind of witnessing this happen right now. And see, in the 1940s and the 1950s, when TV came along, most of the radio actors at the time always said things like TV was not going to last. It was a fad. And, a lot of these TV actors that were coming up on the scene were getting all kinds of exposure when the radio actors, a lot of them refused to actually convert over into TV. And, we know what happened with that. History lets us know exactly what happened with that. But see, most people that run companies, they don't really use social media the correct way. What most people are doing is they're just putting up like a written content post with some pictures, and then they expect people to really engage with this, and no one engages with it. No one engages with it because who can really engage with the picture? Someone might like it or, leave a quick comment, but it's not enough to really keep eyes glued to your page, if that makes sense. So, really what's happening is, since social media has came along and they've offered video, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, they changed their algorithm. Facebook changed their algorithm. I know a lot of other platforms did as well. But what they did is, they don't put your written content post in front of as many people as they used to. And the reason for this is because they know people will watch a video for a lot longer than they will, to sit there and read articles and stuff. And I think it's like 30% of the country can't read anyway. So, a lot of times you may be putting up a written content post and no one's looking at it because, a lot of people can't read. So that's just something that's going on right now. The longer that you're on a site, the longer that you're on some social media site, the more successful that site is. So the reason they're pushing for videos is because they want you on their site. They want you on there, as long as possible. The longer you're on their site, of course, the more successful they're going to be. So I think it's something like 82% of the country is on social media right now. 94% of people on social media are on Facebook. So we know where your audience is. Everybody knows exactly where your audience is. It's just no one knows how to use social media correctly just yet. What ends up happening is, you get these companies, these marketing companies, and they tell you things like, we can get you tons and tons of exposure on social media. And again, they're just putting up written content posts, and then they're charging you $400 a month while they're just sitting on their couch, looking for pictures to post for you. And, they're probably doing this once a day. And then you're sitting there wondering why social media doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work because it's not being used correctly. So a few minutes ago, I said that TV was dead, and I'm going to explain exactly what I'm talking about. See, TV is successful because of the amount of people they reach. So if you were to run a commercial on a TV station, then what ends up happening is the way they look for clients for you, potential clients that is, they are going to do it through demographics. If you're not familiar with demographics, demographics are just going to be location a person lives in, how much money they make per year, what kind of car they drive, what neighborhood they live in, things like that. So that's how they're going to really determine exactly who your clients are. That's how they're going to put your information out there. And this is a good way of doing it, but what ends up happening is that most of the people that they put your content in front of are not going to be interested in what you actually have to offer. You're going to have, maybe 40-30% of people, and that's probably high numbers, just depending on what kind of product or service that you're offering. So what social media does, it goes a step further. It does exactly like TV. It's going to use demographics just like TV will, but what they're going to do, they're going to use something called psychographics too. What psychographics are, they're going to be a person's ambitions, their goals, it's really just behavior patterns. And when you get into behavior patterns, when it comes to advertising, what ends up happening is you can target people so much better. See, what ends up happening with TV is you got a wide range of people who are not necessarily interested in what you have to offer. Now, when you start bringing psychographics into it, you can pinpoint people a lot better than just with demographics. See, and you might be asking yourself, why is this important? Why does this matter? And that's because you're going to be able to find a narrower audience of who is actually looking for your product or service. So that's just one of the reasons why I think that psychographics are going to dominate. So another reason that TV is not going to be as powerful as your social media is going to be, because once you start reaching the same amount of views on social media that you would for, let's say, a local TV commercial, then you're pinpointing people a lot better than TV can. You're going to get better results. So I live here in Denver, like I said earlier, and here in Denver, we have the largest news network is going to be Denver 7. And Denver 7, they average about 31,000 views on their 6 o'clock news. So 31,000 views is what I get for a lot of my videos, or I dominate that number a lot of times. I don't know if you're someone who used to watch me over on Facebook, but my Facebook numbers are usually in the 250,000 range to I have some videos up into the million range. So it just depends. But what makes social media so much better is you're probably only going to run one commercial on Denver News 7. You're only going to be able to afford one commercial. People are going to see this one commercial. They're not going to be as quick to watch the commercial that they've already seen as they would be new content that you're putting out. And then if you're given some sort of content that's going to be informative, that's going to be king, because the consumers nowadays are way smarter than they were in the past. They're probably the smartest consumers that we've had. By the time they have, decided to buy your product, they've probably researched on Amazon. They've probably read reviews on Amazon, on Google. They've went on social media and looked it up. They've probably watched videos on it. So by the time they have came to the conclusion that they're going to buy your product or your service, then they've probably watched tons of videos on it. And if you don't have any videos up, then your competition probably does. And they're going to watch your competition's videos, and unfortunately for you, your competition is probably going to get that client or that customer. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. I appreciate everybody for watching. I hope this video finds everybody doing good out there. And if you would, please make sure you like this content because it helps us out so much. Thanks everyone for watching.